We'll start with you, Coach. You returned 8 of the 10 offensive linemen that saw action last season, including 4 senior starters. How significant is that, particularly in the triple option offense?
Oh, I think it's exceptional for the game of football. If you look at your offensive line and on coaches, we know that's where culture is created. It's always been that way, even before the word culture became a buzzword in football. If you got an offensive line, somehow those guys become the building block of the entire football program. They get no glory, but they have an work ethic that's unsurpassed. We got some really, really good kids and some good players, and they're all back, and they're definitely the leaders of our football program.
Okay. Now that you've been running the triple option offense for several years, what are some changes and improvements that you've implemented in this sort of run-heavy offense?
Well, the guy next to me, it's not secret now that when you look at personnel on offense and you find out what personnel is on the field and you try to keep the same personnel on the field and be able to move different people around. If you can have a tight end that can split out and catch the ball, and you have a tight end that can become an H-back. If you can do different things, you can take a running back out and put him out there. It makes it really difficult defensively. So when we started with this thing, it's just because we need to do something different. It's just who we are as a program. It's where we are. Don't make any excuses for it. We're throwing the ball more. We're into more formations. But the whole idea of trying to find those mismatches, if you will, personnel mismatches, is something that we're getting into now more and more.
You've made some changes defensively recently. How do you think those adjustments will help in 2023?
I think Commissioner made a comment that our fifth best team would beat any fifth best team in any other league. I totally agree with that. I really do, Joe. And the reason is not because of the offense. The reason is because of the defense. If you look at the 5 teams that are in this league and what they have done defensively, some have become great defensively. Some have been traditionally great defensively. But you got to be able to play defense to win football. And somehow, some way, because we have so much discussion about the triple option offense, that we really don't talk a whole lot about defense. Had to make some changes. I mean, when you get beat the way we did in some of the games we did last year, we had 8 starters that missed the year. But nonetheless, there were a couple of games that just didn't fly, didn't sit well with me. You have to make changes. You just cannot continue to do the same things. Those changes including moving some coaches around, a different idea in terms of what are you going to make as a priority as a coach? What are the things that over the years that you've seen that have developed into successful teams that you got away with and then got away from? And what I found was the guys I looked at in the mirror was the number one problem. So now that I got an attitude adjustment and realize that defense is really the key to winning football games. All right, that's just the way it is, and we got to get back to doing that. What we recruited specifically for defense this year, we've got more guys that can play in a 2-point stance than we've ever had, in a D3 era. And that's going to help in special teams and whatnot. But, make no mistake about it. We found who the enemy was, and it's me. So we got ourselves corrected. We had a little, we're good. We're going to be fine. Yeah, give me the next question. Hurry up, go.
So we've talked about some of the changes offensively and defensively. Another change that you sort of have this year is sitting right next to you in the fact that he missed most of last season due to injury. Right. How glad are you to have Jared back this year, and what strengths does he bring to the team?
Well, I mean, let's face it. When you lose anybody, and coaches, it's a game of injuries. It really is. The teams that are going to be at the top of the standings at the end of the year are going to be the teams that have been able to fight through injuries, adversity, situations that come up. And as head coaches, I'm telling you, these guys, there are 11 head coaches, well, 10, don't count myself. The 10 coaches in this league right now do an incredible job of being able to manage a roster and be able to manage chaos that happens, that you all in the media have no idea what they do. None. I mean, these guys know how to put together things. So when you get a kid that's hurt and you lose him for the rest of the year, you got to find a way to make it happen. Last year, we tried. Okay, you can't replace somebody like this. Let's just call it what it is. I mean, and having him back and his leadership and what he brings to the approach. We got 6 fifth-year guys. There's no excuse this year. I mean, this is the year that we got to get over the hump. It's just that simple.
So for the final question, you're entering your 40th year at Geneva and 31st as the head coach. What is it about Geneva that's given you such a heart for the college?
Well, I think Geneva College, back when I was younger, when I transferred to Geneva, I made a tremendous impact in my life. I believe in what the college stands for. I believe in the administration of our college. I believe in the direction that we're going. There's some things that I'm very, very excited about. And the number one reason why I'm coaching football is because of what that young man just said about his relationship with Christ. That's why I'm in football. I'm in football because once it's all said and done, and the kids and guys are going places, they're getting jobs, you see them growing up, what are we leaving these kids with, coaches? What are we doing to invest in them for leadership? And we just believe in a wholehearted approach. And to me, right now, at my age and what I'm seeing now that's happening in our culture, football is under attack. I can't stand it. It offends me. It upsets me. I think as coaches, we need to come together more and fight this. It's happening on our campuses. I think it's an incredible way to teach men how to become men and in the way God intended. So I'm going to get off my soapbox. I'm done. Go ahead.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah,
and now
really.
we'll turn to Jared for a few questions. Jared, after having such a strong junior year in which you were named the second-team All-PAC performer, last year you battled injuries the whole year that really limited you. Talk about the challenges you faced last year and how you tried to persevere through them.
Yeah, I mean, everybody in here, all the athletes, injuries are terrible and nobody wants them. I spent a week in the hospital right before our first game last year, and I lost a lot of my blood. So the challenges that came with that, I mean, I was gassed anytime I did anything on the field. The trainers were standing on the sidelines with oxygen tanks for me. And on top of that, I had a partially torn hamstring, so fighting through all those things, played bits and pieces of some games. I had to miss my first football game since like 5th grade, and obviously that's super frustrating because we saw our team start to struggle, and not being able to be out there on the practice field and not being able to help them on the game field is really, really tough. So that wore on me, but it was really just I had talks with Coach about it, and just kind of adopted the role that allowed me to be whatever I could to help the team win. So whether that meant spending extra time with younger guys to make sure everything was good and making sure that they know what was going on, or just being an extra coach or extra set of eyes out on the field, and that's really kind of what helped me get through that.
Okay. You're one of several seniors in your class that decided to come back for an extra 5th season. What went into that decision to return, and what kind of relationship do you have with the guys that you came in 5 years ago?
Yeah, I made that decision about 2 years ago is when I had to start scheduling classes out ahead. I was able to graduate with 2 engineering degrees, so that helped, and coaches asking me to come back is a big part of, knowing you wanted to come back. But it's ultimately just I love football and I don't want to stop playing football. If I was working a full-time job right now and not getting ready for a season, it'd be a little bit sad. So, just playing football is really what motivated that. And as for the guys, I think Coach said there's like 6 of us coming back, and it's really, really cool to see just the guys that I've grown with. Those guys specifically I've spent the most time with, but really, any of the guys that not all of us came back. Some of my friends graduated last year, and Coach said something my very first meeting freshman year that I'll always remember, and he said, "Freshmen, you don't know anybody right now, but look around. Some of these guys are going to be in your wedding." And just how true that is. I know at least one of the guys that's coming back with me is going to that's true for, and he'll be one of my best friends the rest of my life. But, I'm super close with all of those guys, and the bond we have as a leadership really just kind of amplifies that.
Going onto the field, what do you see your role as in the triple option offense as a tight end?
Yeah, that's definitely an answer that would have changed over the years. I think my first year or two, I'd say my role would be frustrated. I want the ball in my hands. Everybody does. Everybody wants to make plays. But really, as I mature and grow and adopt that team-first mentality, and I started to take pride in other areas of my game, specifically, obviously, blocking and run blocking. But I think my role now, Coach touched on it, is I think my combination of size and athleticism, I bring a different dimension to the offense, a different challenge for defenses, mismatches, and I believe I'm certainly not a liability in either the running or passing game. So that's probably my role now.
Okay. So as a student athlete, we've covered the athlete portion. Now on the student side, you're an engineering major. What kind of engineering have you focused your study on, and what do you hope to do after graduation?
Yeah, I'm a civil and mechanical engineer, so I really don't have a plan right now exactly where I'm going to be at or what I'm going to be doing, but I'd like to try to get a job in aerospace engineering and go back for go back to grad school for that. And the fun answer is I want to design roller coasters. So if I can find a way to do that, I'll be set.
Thanks, Jared, and thanks again to Coach DeMarco. The 2023 season for the Golden Tornadoes will begin September 2nd when they host defending PAC champion Carnegie Mellon. Thank you again, Geneva.